Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Tuesday, August the 12th. We have important data today, which is going to be core CPI. That is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So essentially, we'll go over some levels and what we're looking at coming into today, and then we're going to wait for core CPI. That's going to be at 8:30, and then develop our game plan from there. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, Jeff. What's up? KO, Ryan, Non Tolly. What's up, Fan, Mozzie, 50, Daniel, Gabby. What's up, JT? Good morning, Robert, Joseph, Martin, Victor. What's up, Wayne? Good morning, Monty. What's up, Robert? What's good, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Yeah. All right. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's head on to the major indices, and then we will go over some of the tech names that we're looking for today. Really, this is going to be very important for the overall market. So core CPI. So we'll see how the market does react. As for the overall QQQ yesterday, we did end up gravitating close to that all-time highest level. So first things first, key levels here for the ES coming into today really is this 6410 level. And then we also had our pre-market levels from yesterday, which we were not able to get above. So for the ES, at least coming into today, we're still bullish here on the higher time frames. As you can see, we are making these higher lows, but now what we'd like to see is really the reclaim back above the 6410 if you want to see any sort of continuation back towards the upside. And now it's primarily going to be the break above your previous day highs for any sort of continuation back up in towards your all-time highs. As for CPI, at least coming to today, the only way if CPI comes in hot, we break underneath key levels, then potentially I might flip my bias. But as for now, the overall market, in my opinion, still bullish on the higher time frames. What I would like to see is a reaction that we have off your 6410. You can see yesterday we are holding this level here in the pre-market and then in the actual market hours as well. We had this nice kind of opening drive towards the upside. As you can see, we're not able to get above this pre-market level, which was your 6430. And then you can see price end up coming all the way back towards the downside. You can see a couple touches here and price end up coming back towards the low. So coming into today here for the ES, the key levels that we have marked out, as I mentioned, is going to be your 6410 here for the ES. As for the SPY, the key levels that we have marked out is our 636.50. So this is our last Thursday's highs. You can see we have multiple touches here. Once we're able to hold this key level, you can see this nice continued push back towards the upside. We're very close towards your all-time highs levels, as you can see, which would have been our 639.50s, but we weren't quite able to get there. We kind of rejected off your pre-market levels, and you can see price pushing back down towards the lows here. So now currently you can see in the pre-market a couple touches at this 636 level. What I like to see coming to today for any sort of upside, reclaim back above your 636 for this continued push towards the upside. If you end up rejecting off your 636, I'll lean a little bit more towards the downside. But CPI, as I mentioned, is going to have to come in hot, and we're going to have a lot more bearish order flow if I'm interested for a continuation lower. So the exact same levels from yesterday, 636.50 for the ES, and along with the SPY here. As for the QQQ, key levels that we have marked out on the Qs is going to be this 23.650. So this is the key level here, which is your Thursday's highs as well. So you can see we have multiple touches. We have a touch here, which is your Thursday's highs, another touch as well. And you can see a couple touches in the pre-market. So if we kind of just zoom out, similar thing to the ES, right? We ended up gravitating back up and towards our all-time highs yesterday. You can see higher lows are still being built on the higher time frames. If we're able to reclaim, potentially we can make kind of this flat top break for this continuation higher. As for the NQ coming into this morning, key level, as I mentioned, is still going to be your Thursday's highs from last week. So as you can see here, 23.660 is a very key level. You can see yesterday we end up holding this level, nice kind of push towards the upside, right in towards our all-time highs. And I can see we're kind of fading off this level. We're back underneath your 23,660. So any more upside, as I mentioned, reclaim back above this level for continuation higher. If CPI comes in hot, we reject off this level. Potentially, we can see a little bit more downside now underneath your 23,660. But overall, the higher time frame structure is still intact. The reclaim would be in play for a push back up and towards your all-time high. So that's what we have for the NQ. As for the QQQ, you can see we kind of gravitated back up and towards your 577, which is our all-time highs here, and a little bit of reaction right off that level. Now, what I like to see in the overall markets is primarily this flat top break. So you can see we have a touch here, another touch. What I like to see is eventually this flat top break form, and then we have this nice break for this continuation higher. So that's what we have for the QQQ, at least from a higher time frame perspective. At least for today, the levels I'm going to have marked out is just going to be our last Thursday's highs along with the rest of the major indices as well. So key level is going to be this 573, multiple touches on Thursday from Friday here as well. And I can see price kind of pushing back towards the upside. And now for the QQQ, what we like to see is the reaction that we have off of this level. If we're able to reclaim back above, as I mentioned, we can see this pushback up and towards your 575 and potentially higher. If we end up staying heavy, holding back underneath this 573, you could see a little bit more downside back down in towards your last Friday's lows. So for the Qs, we're going to keep an eye out on your last Thursday's highs. For the SPY, similar thing, last Thursday's highs is what we're going to be looking at. And then for the NQ, exact same thing along with the ES. So levels today, fairly clear. We're just going to keep an eye out on these levels along with CPI, which is going to be in about 20 minutes. We'll go over some more charts as well. Let's go over Tesla. So Tesla was my top watch coming into yesterday for continuation towards the upside. As I mentioned, right, higher time frame kind of break. We're above your previous day highs. This one's showing strength. What I want to see here is this continued push back towards the upside. So as you can see here for Tesla, nice push right off the bat. This one, you can see use your previous day high as a retest, as in an immediate retest for continuation towards the upside for this nice push higher. And then we end up retesting off your 338, which in this case was our earnings high. As you can see back here, nice break and then retested for this push back towards the upside. So for Tesla coming into today and moving forward, what I like to see is to really maintain above your 338. This is your earnings high from a couple weeks ago, and this is the exact level we like to see if we want to see some more upside. So key levels I have marked out, 335, which is our last week's highs. We now have our 338, which is our earnings highs. You can see retest yesterday, another hold where price came all the way back down at yesterday's close. And now you can see so far we're kind of defending this level here in the after hours along with the pre-market. So for Tesla, as long as you maintain above your 338, I like to see this continue push back up and towards the highs. And then another level we have marked out is going to be this 343. We could also be looking for the reclaim back above your 343 for this potential push back towards the upside. So Tesla, today at least it's going to open up in the middle of the range. We'll see how CPI forms. But this one, I like to see it maintain above your 338 for potential continuation back towards the upside. As for a few other names here, Apple, as I mentioned, most likely we are going to have an inside bar day if it drops within the first 5 to 10 minutes. And you can see within the first 5 minutes dropped right down in towards our key level, which was our 225, an inside bar day. So for Apple, we're still very much bullish here on the higher time frames. I like this inside bar day forming, holding key levels here as well, which is our 225.37. What I would like to see now is this trend line form here on the higher time frame. So as long as you can maintain above your 225, I like to see eventually, right, Apple continue back up in towards your 230 and above. So that's the key levels I have marked out for Apple coming into today. It's going to be this 225.37. We'll see what happens with CPI as well, but this one, higher time frame, still looks very good for continuation higher. As for NVIDIA, this one forming a flat top break on the higher time frames as well. So NVIDIA, Gonna be my main watches coming into today. What we do have here is a flat top on the higher time frame, so you can see multiple touches here. We have another touch yesterday. What I would like to see now, break above your 183 retest for this continued pushback towards the upside. So Nvidia, one of my top watches, at least coming to today, you can see the we are getting tighter here on the higher time frames. Plus, we're building liquidity at both sides. Nvidia is going to have a big move, either break above your 183 and continue, or potentially it could reject and then come back towards the downside. So either scenario on Nvidia, we are going to have a big move, but I would like to see now it's going to be the break above your previous day highs, also your last week's highs as well, for this continued push back towards the upside on the overall market. So that's what we have for Nvidia. As for Meta, not too much to talk about here, just building up liquidity both sides on this name, kind of forming this higher time frame wedge pattern. But this one I like to see now, really, as I mentioned, right, break above or break below with a lot of strength for continuation to either side, preferably the upside, just based off of the higher time frames. But now I would like to see it above your previous day highs at a minimum for a potential push back up and towards your 784 here on the higher time frames. As for AMD, this one's consolidating a little bit more here as well. We ended up reclaiming key levels yesterday and end up having a really solid pushback towards the upside. So we're able to reclaim back above that 173, and we end up having this nice push towards your 176. I still want to see AMD hit this 179 along with this 180, which is your earnings high. But as for now, so far on AMD, it looks a little bit more consolidation just based off this earnings key level. But what I would like to see for some more upside is going to be the reclaim back above your 176.46. That's going to be the key level if you want to see any sort of continuation higher. Currently now on AMD, I am less interested in trading this name today towards the upside or the downside, just because we had a big day yesterday. Plus now we're basically inside of this earnings range. So AMD off the table for me, unless CPI right ends up moving this name quite a bit, but I'm going to be more focused on Nvidia just because that one has a nice higher time frame, at least coming into this morning. So AMD, we'll just keep an eye out on your 176, and towards the downside the key levels I have is your 170. As for some other names, Amazon here on the higher time frames still looks good if we can reclaim back above your 226. This one is going to come back down into retest key levels, which is going to be your 220. So we'll keep an eye out on Amazon. 220 is going to be your key level. If you can maintain above your 220, we can see this continue push back up in towards your 225. If we can break underneath with strong price action, if we can break underneath and price stays heavy underneath this 220, potentially you could be looking for the retest underneath 220 for this pushback towards the downside. So this is going to be a very key level. It's your Friday's highs from last week, plus it is your low that we created yesterday along with the low that we have on Thursday. So 220 here on Amazon, very key level. As for Google, this one, after a nice push towards the upside, was unable to hold our key level, which was our 201. You can see just a little bit more consolidation. Similar thing here with Apple inside bar day. What we like to see is a little bit more consolidation. And then if we can break above your previous day highs, which is going to be your 202, that is going to be the key level back towards the upside, towards your 203.50. So that's what we have for Google. As for a few other names, I already went over Amazon. The other name that we do have here is Microsoft. So on the higher time frames, Microsoft is just pulling back right in towards our 516. This is the exact level we like to see buyers step in if we want to see any sort of continue push back towards the upside on this name. So that's what we have for some of the tech names, at least coming into today. We'll see what happens with CPI. As I mentioned, we'll just wait until CPI to develop our game plan. But as of now, based off the key levels on the higher time frames, Tesla's still going to be looking for continuation towards the upside above your 338. I do like Apple, if we can eventually have this downtrend break form on the higher time frames for a push higher. And then Nvidia, so Tesla and Nvidia are going to be my two main watches coming into today, just because Nvidia does have this flat top break here as well. So Tesla, Nvidia, my two top names coming into today for potential continuation. As for the rest of the names, we'll see what happens with CPI here. It is at about 15 minutes. So now I will go over any charts until then, and then we'll develop our game plan from there. As for Netflix, quickly go over this one. Yeah, Netflix reclaiming key levels here as well. Now back above this 1200 key psych. And now you can see we're showing some momentum now. We did have earnings not too long ago that broke towards the downside. So for Netflix, eventually what I'd like to see is this push back up in towards your earnings highs. So now if we can reclaim this key level, so far we're holding above your 1200. I like to see the kind of this push back up in towards at least the first key level, which is going to be this this 1240 here on the higher time frames. Okay, let me grab some water here. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can drop them in the chat. All right, yeah, don't spam the chat. I'm gonna put you in timeout. Yeah, if you guys do have any charts, you guys can drop them in the chat. And I'll go over them for the next 10 minutes until we have core CPI data. That's going to be at 8:30. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the watch list already, that one is in the description below. All right, let me scroll down here. What do you think about BMNR for long-term investment? I'm personally, I'm not too well, I haven't looked into it, so I can't give you like a great analysis, maybe based off the higher time frames, but these ones are really more based off of fundamentals along with technicals as well. Technicals kind of basing and now you're having the second leg towards the upside. We'll see if we can potentially move back up and towards your 100 key site, but this one we're now gravitating back up in towards your 58.98. That's the level we basically have to hold, or you're going to have to reclaim if you want to see any sort of continuation higher. So with this gap up, now the key level, you have to see this reclaim back above your 58 for any sort of continuation higher. Sent an email on regards to a trading setup. Would appreciate if you take, yeah, I'll take, if I have any time, I'll take a look at it. All right, let's look at Palantir. So Palantir, really strong push towards the upside. You can see so far, not really losing any momentum, but now you can see pulling back a little bit here. Key level still for Palantir that we have is your 184, and now we're going to also have your 180. So most likely now it's going to come back down in towards your 180, and that's where the buyers are going to step in, or we'll be waiting for the reclaim back above your 184 for this continued push back towards the upside. So two levels on Palantir that you'd be interested in, 184 or your bounce down at 180 here on Palantir. So those are the two scenarios that we have marked out. Either way, Palantir is still very much bullish, right? This is your earnings high. So as long as you maintain above your 172, we're going to be looking for a continuation higher. Let's go on to Hood. So as for Hood, similar thing here. Key levels that we have marked out is our 117 along with our key level, which is our 113.50. So this is the key level I have marked out on Hood. What I like to see is really maintain above your 113.50 for any sort of pushback towards the upside. If you're looking at this from a higher time frame perspective, actually have a couple levels here. This is your previous all-time high. So this general area for me, which is your previous all-time highs along with the area that we broke out from, has to hold, which is going to be this 112, essentially 113 on the 1 hour chart for this continued pushback towards the upside. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious on Hood if we end up getting back underneath your previous all-time highs in this case, which is essentially going to be this 113. So that's the level I have marked out on Hood, at least on the higher time frames. So you can keep an eye out on that. Let me actually remove this. As for MU, this one, nice push towards the upside, kind of this opening drive right off the bat. But you can see hit our key levels, which is our 127, and then we end up fading off that level. And then we end up getting back underneath this 124 and just a little bit more consolidation. Didn't really do too much yesterday. As for MU today, key levels is going to be the reclaim back above your 124 for any sort of continued push back towards the highs. That's what we have in this case. Another level that we have is if it pushes all the way back down in towards this 120.50, you could be looking for the buyers to step in off this 120.50 for this continued pushback towards the highs. As for, let's see, Bitcoin, let me take a look at Bitcoin. I haven't charted out Bitcoin in a while. BTC USD. All right, so for Bitcoin, at least on the higher time frames, let me actually go into this one. I'm not sure where all my drawings are at. But for Bitcoin, as you can see, continue to push back up and towards our all-time highs nicely. Higher time frames now, we're just going to mark out down close candles. You can see in this case, previous resistance essentially turned into support very nicely. And now we have that continued push all the way back up and towards our highs. And you can see we end up taking out our highs yesterday, and now we're having a little bit of reaction off that level. So nice break and retest back up and towards our all-time highs. A little bit of reaction now. What I would like to see for any sort of continuation, at least moving forward, is going to be eventually kind of this like flat top break. Once we end up having this rejection yesterday, eventually we're going to have another touch here and then break above, continuation higher. So at least with this rejection, we'd like to see now just maintain above down close candles. In this case, your break and retest level that we broke out from is just going to be this key pivot high, which is your 117,730 here on Bitcoin. And that's a level that we like to see hold if you want to see continuation higher. As for a few other names, we have about 7 minutes until red folder. Let me scroll down here as well. All right. As for IWM, so this one's consolidating here on the higher time frames. Just a lot more consolidation with IWM 221 along with this 220. What you like to see for any sort of continued push is really the break outside this range. We can just kind of draw this box here, right? Break above, potential continuation towards the upside. Break below, we can see continuation down lower. If we just stay inside the box, then we're just going to reject and just come right back inside the range. So that's what we have for IWM. Nothing's really changed here. We can actually just refine our levels if we like as well. So 221.60 previous day highs along with their previous day lows 220. As for Oracle, nice kind of pop yesterday. Oracle for me still in the higher time frames, very much intact. As you can see, higher lows are still being built, at least on the daily time frame. What we'd now like to see is the reclaim back above a key level for this continued push back up and towards your highs. So for Oracle, the key levels that we have marked out is our 253. So our 253 is essentially the area that we broke down from, at least on the 1 hour time frame. And you can see we have multiple touches in this general area as well. So for Oracle, what I would like to see is the reclaim back above this level for any sort of continued push back up and towards the high. So that's what we have in this, that's what we have for this ticker. Let me go over a few more here as well. CRWV. CRWV, nice kind of reclaim now back above our key levels. We talked about this being that 134. So you can see so far reclaiming back above your 134 holding. Coming into yesterday, you can see we're above it in the pre-market, and then you can see huge lower wick here on the 15-minute time frame. Now we're back down in towards this general area, so this is the exact level we'd like to see hold for any sort of continued push back up and towards the high. So 134, you like to see the buyer step in off this level coming into today. A lot of you guys are asking about gold, so I'll take a look at that. So for gold, the key level has just been consolidating, at least on the 1 hour chart. The levels I have marked out is really this 33.45 level. I mentioned This is essentially the level you like to see kind of the buyer step in. So far, you can see just a lot of consolidation around this general area. If we are unable to hold this level, which it does seem like we're trying to break underneath, it's going to be all the way back down in towards our 33.30. Sorry, our yeah, 33.30 and below here. So if we go into the lower time frames, yeah, just a lot more consolidation. Even the 15-minute consolidating, the 1 hour time frame, I would consider this a lot more consolidation. But yeah, this is going to be your key level, or 33.45, at least on the daily chart. Similar thing, just a lot more consolidation. So until we can start trending here on gold, there's just going to be a lot more consolidation on the daily chart. Not too much to talk about until we can have a clear direction to either, at least the past like 20 to 40 sessions, just a lot more consolidation. So wait for a clear kind of break or a clear trend in order to trade this. Are you trading futures or options? Sorry, I'm trading options primarily. I'll trade futures every once in a while as well. As for coin, this one, nice kind of pop yesterday, faded back towards the downside after having this nice opening drive. Now we're just right back down in towards your previous day low. So what I like to see, reaction that we have off your previous day lows, which is going to be this 320. What I personally like to see is a reclaim back above your 324. If we come back down in towards your previous day's lows, most likely we are just going to end up getting back underneath and gravitating towards this 316 here on the higher time frames. All right, we have about 2 minutes until core CPI here. Hey, Jack, really enjoy watching the pre-market preps. These help a lot. Appreciate the value provide. Appreciate the kind words. All right, let's see. Hymns. Let me scroll down here as well. What's the name of the ticker? We can trade for Tesla since its premiums are usually expensive. If the Tesla premiums are expensive, then you can trade TSLA, which is the double leverage if you want, as which is the move's fairly similar to Tesla. The move's a little bit more volatile and the premiums are cheaper, but that's something you can take a look at. All right, let me pull this up here. All right, so we do have core CPI in about a minute. Let me see if I can go over a couple more tickers beforehand. Won't be watching Tesla today. No, Tesla's one of our main watches coming into today. Let me go over SoFi. Yeah, so SoFi, nice pop yesterday. We're still haven't closed above your 2350, but SoFi, nice continue push towards the upside. You can see a little bit of reaction around this 2350 general area. What I like to see, reclaim above it for any sort of continue push back higher. So key level for SoFi is going to be this 2260. I like to see it above, maintain, and then continuation higher. So that's what we have for SoFi, at least coming to market open. Was going to ask, where can we see CPI? You can see it anywhere. If you search up economic calendar online, you'll be able to find the CPI data that gets released, at least for this news event, since it's already planned in the overall markets. It's fairly easy to see, at least for other news events. You probably will have to go into Twitter. Nice long and AMD off previous day close yesterday, along with the 15-minute orb. Thank you. Awesome. Nice trade. All right. So reclaiming so far, we'll see how this candle closes for the SPY and the overall indices. But as I talked about, so far higher time frame is still very bullish here, and now we're reclaiming back above key levels. So seems like now with CPI, reclaiming Qs, reclaiming here as well, probably get that push back up and towards your all-time highs. Let's look at the numbers. All right. So CPI basically came in fairly neutral. So it came in forecasted, at least month over month, came in the exact forecasted amount, which was 0.3%, month over month, 0.2, and then year over year came in a little bit lower than expected, but you can see the overall market higher time frame still very bullish. So it's basically in line with expectations. Now you can see overall market having a nice reaction off of that, and we're continuing higher. So for the overall markets, I'd like to see that push up and towards our all-time highs coming into market open. That was kind of the game plan, the reclaim, but so far with CPI pushing in this higher. Now what I'd like to see is the reaction off of our 572, which we're already having a nice push higher. Now we'll also mark out our previous day highs as well, which is going to be this 577. So preferably if it doesn't gravitate up and towards your 577 before market opens, we can be looking to trade up and towards this 577 key level. If price, let's say at market open, we already have this big push higher, we'll keep an eye out on this 577, the reaction that we have. If you can maintain above your previous day highs, we can see this continuation higher. If we end up reclaiming, sorry, if we open up above this level and we end up getting back underneath, then I'll be a little bit cautious for longs, but the key level now is going to be this 577. For the SPY, similar thesis, right? Key level is going to be your previous day highs. You can see SPY getting a little bit of a nicer reaction in the pre-market, but we're also going to mark out your previous day highs. Let's just actually mark out brand new levels here as well. What we can have marked out on the SPY chart is going to be your essentially, yeah, your previous day highs. So we can mark out your previous day highs, and we can also mark out now it's going to be your all-time highs, which is all the way back from July the 31st. So these are the key levels I have for SPY coming to market open. I'm going to mark out your previous day highs. If we can get above your previous day highs maintained, we can see this push up in towards your 640. If we open up above this level, reject after 640, I'd be a little bit cautious, but key level now is going to be your reaction that we have off your 639 here on the SPY. As for the NQ, key levels is going to be this 23,800, and then for the ES, the key levels that we have marked out is just going to be your previous day's key pivot levels along with this pre-market high, as you can see a little bit of reaction off of, but it's going to be this 2428. So that's going to be the key level here for the ES, and then SPY key level previous day highs, which we're getting a little bit of reaction off of so far. So let's go on to some of the main watches that we're looking for coming into today. Tesla number one. So Tesla popping here, right? We're above our 338 key levels that we're going to have marked out. Now we can mark this, which is going to be this 343. Tesla higher time frame breakout, showed some nice strength yesterday, showing some strength here in the pre-market as well. What I like to see is maintain above your 343 for this continue push back up and towards your previous day highs and above. This one would be more based off of kind of a basically kind of like a 5-minute setup, just because we are inside this range. But I like to see it maintain above this 343 for this continuation higher. Nvidia, let's see if we can get that break above this flat top. So this is one of my favorite watches coming into today as well. If we can now get this flat top break on Nvidia, what I like to see break above, retest, or even an immediate retest for this continuation towards the upside. So still the exact same thing applies, right? Top watches is going to be Tesla along with Nvidia coming to market open. As for a few other names, we'll take a look at Apple here. Apple, kind of nice buyer stepping in off this 225. We'll see what shapes up, at least on the higher time frame wise, right? Key levels that we have marked out is this downtrend. So what I like to see is really maintain above this 225 for this continue push higher. As for Meta, not too much to talk about here, just a lot more consolidation, but higher time frame wedge pattern. Key level is going to be your previous day highs. If we can break above that, let's just actually mark this out. It does seem like Meta is moving quite a bit here, probably with the QQQ, I assume. Yeah, QQQ first step get bought up. So, right, key levels is going to be your previous day highs for the Qs, 577. Meta previous day highs, which is about to get hit. As for a few other tickers that we'll keep an eye out on that we have is going to be Amazon, right? 220 kind of bounce here. I'd like to see this push back up and towards the upside. And then for Google, Google's also on watch as well. So we'll keep an eye out on Google just because it's reclaiming back above key levels. Higher time frame still very much intact. What we kind of have is this mini downtrend. So for Google now, what we like to see maintain above your previous day highs for this continue push back up and towards your all-time highs, which is going to be your 203.50. So we'll keep an eye out on Google as well coming into market open. As for the rest of the names, AMD inside the middle of the range. So I wouldn't be too interested in AMD today, just because we are going to open up right inside the range. So we'll look for really the reaction that we have now, it's going to be around your 176 along with your 172.50 here on AMD. As for a few other names, I'll just kind of speed run through all the rest of the names here. For Palantir, trying to reclaim back above this 184, you could be looking for that. Hood, so far bouncing perfectly off that previous all-time highs 113 for a potential pushback up and towards now your new all-time highs, which is going to be your 117. You can actually just refine this up in towards your 117. As for other names, MU reclaiming back above this 124, potential push up in towards this 127. Oracle trying to reclaim back above your key levels here as well. As for AVGO, this one is at all-time highs. So AVGO, a semiconductor continuation higher. We're at all-time highs. The daily chart very bullish here as well. What we like to see now is it hold above our key levels, which is number one or 303. And then we also have other key levels marked out, which is going to be this 306. So what I like to see for AVGO, break above your previous day highs, hold for this continued push back towards upside. As for a couple other tickers, HIM's actually showing a lot of weakness just because I think we had some news that it's affecting it, plus earnings pushing it towards the downside. And then for a few other tickers, yeah, a lot of these ones are reclaiming key levels. So a lot of names are shaping up nicely here with the overall markets. Once we end up reclaiming this key level, we're expected to kind of push back up and towards your previous day highs. You can see, unfortunately, at least you can't trade options during the pre-market, but this one, first step, kind of get bought up for this continuation towards your all-time highs, which is very key. You can see for the ES, we're a little bit of reaction, but now we're reclaiming back above key levels. What I would like to see on the ES is now this push back up and towards your all-time high. So for the QQQ, we're pushing up and towards your all-time highs here. For the NQ, similar thing, pushing back up and towards your all-time highs, which was expected as long as it came in line with expectations. We're looking for that all-time highs break. So now what we'll be looking for is primarily the reaction that we have off your all-time highs, preferably for continuation above and hold. What we don't want to see is break above and get back underneath. That's exactly what we don't want to see. As for my top watches, as I mentioned, it's going to be Tesla, number one for a hold of this 343 and a push back up and towards your previous day highs. Nvidia so far showing a little bit of strength here. So Nvidia top watch coming to market open as well. And then we'll keep an eye out on these other names like Apple and Google. So that is going to be it for me today. Let's see the chat. Yeah, that's basically going to be it for me today. We just had core CPI. So for the overall markets, as I mentioned, Tesla, Nvidia top watches. As for the overall SPY and Qs, we'll keep an eye out on your previous day highs to see the overall reaction that we have. If you do want to see continuation, we're going to have to maintain above your previous day highs for a move higher. So that's about it. As for the rest of the names in the overall markets as well, right, just maintain. You like to see them maintain above key levels, either your previous day highs, or other key levels, as long as we maintain structure. Overall market still very much bullish on the higher time frames. We like to see now the reaction that we have off the QQQ. All right, that is going to be it for me today. I'm going to get ready for market open here now. If you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. If you guys do want to join the watch list, that one is in the description below. And then I will see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.